If not for UAE, maybe we wouldn't have met. Well, how have you been, sir? How are things with you?
I'm doing really well. Thank
Yeah,
you so
that's
much.
glad
And
to
thanks
know.
for this opportunity.
I should be thankful, sir. I mean, for a fact, you and I very well know that we have been waiting to do this. But I
Absolutely.
guess this has been the right time. Or maybe trust the timing of the universe.
True.
Maybe that says it all. But I mean, isn't it actually funny or weird for a fact that us being Hyderabadis,
Right.
and here we find ourselves encounter each other in the UAE,
Absolutely.
and then that brings us or maybe prompts us to have this conversation. How does it feel, sir?
No, absolutely. I think it's finally manifesting after
Yeah.
so many conversations that we had.
Yeah.
Right before, I remember you showing me the videos almost about 7-8 months back,
Yeah.
where I had the opportunity to look at a couple of videos that you've done already. I think they were shot beautifully. It was scripted very well. So I thought,
Thank
why
you.
not? You should continue doing this.
I
More
truly
often.
appreciate being given this opportunity. But yeah, before we prolong the thick line,
Right.
maybe we could hear from you as to how long has it been since you have been in the UAE, who
Right.
you are,
Right.
where you're working.
Yep. I've been in UAE for last 20 years.
Okay.
So as you've mentioned, I'm also an Hyderabadi. So, studied, lived all my life in Hyderabad. So I've done my master's from Osmania University, worked in companies, multinational companies in India. And after about 5-6 years of experience, I decided to move to UAE. And I came here on a visit visa because my brother used to work here. So he said, why don't you come and have a look at Dubai? It's growing, it's developing.
Yeah.
There are a lot of opportunities. Come and explore. So I took a 1-month holiday from my organization and came over here.
Okay.
And that was the day, and now it's been 20 years, and this is home for me.
Yeah.
It's a second home. In Hindi you call Jan Bhumi and Karm Bhumi. So this is my Karm Bhumi. I owe a lot to this country.
Yeah.
I've got great opportunities, had the opportunity to work with amazing people, students, for last 10 years I've been into education industry. So I had opportunity to meet with students like yourself, where I get to learn so many things from the young students as well. So overall, my experience predominantly has been recruitment.
Okay.
I worked with a recruitment agency here initially for about 7.5 years. Then I joined a university over here. And since then, I've been into education institutions. Okay. So I've worked in 2 education institutions, prominent education institutions of UAE, where I help students to find, right kind of opportunities. So mentoring students in this, I would not say challenging work environment, but it's a fast-paced work environment where students have to be up to speed to match up with what industries are looking out for. So
Right.
hand-holding students in those areas. Also, on the other hand, helping organizations to find the talent from organizations. So we are like we bridge the gap between education institutions as well as organizations.
Right, fair, sir. I mean, it's almost 2 decades to be precise.
Yeah.
And I mean, from what I've heard, and since I've known you for almost 2 long years, and that's very much relevant as to how long you have come. And I actually congratulate on you having made a foundation for yourself in the UAE.
Thank you.
Which is actually a great thing. And maybe also a flow of footsteps or a path of footsteps which encourages other people, maybe to just find opportunities or seek guidance from you.
Right.
Yeah. That's actually great, sir. That's a great story and actually a motivational and an inspirational story. And I am glad to be sharing this platform with someone who has incredible experience over 20 years.
Yep.
Which is absolutely great. And to be honest, if I had to go back to the days wherein I initially met you, I didn't know for a fact that you are from Hyderabad. The moment I got to know that you are from Hyderabad, it made me comfortable.
Right.
And at the same time, I felt as if I'm home, because for a fact, though there was a foundation or an origin as to where we met, but where it brought us, I mean, this still feels like a dream, to be very honest. Right. But for the lack of a better word, thank you is all that I can say right now, sir.
No, thank you so much. Thank you for being a very supportive, I would say, student as well. Like, who've, I remember interacting with you right from, initial first semester, when you joined in. We had on and off conversations about so many things, about life in UAE, careers and all that stuff. But I'm so happy to see that, you're doing really well.
Thank you, sir.
What you were aspiring to get into, the kind of industries that you were looking into, you are actually in those industries. So I think this would be the right time for you to introduce yourself, your journey.
I did my bachelor's back in Hyderabad only. And then for a fact, I always believed that I would never leave India. Forget about India, not even Telangana, the state itself.
Right.
But of course, there's something else written in our fate, which we can never run away from. And after 4 years of experience, I did have other plans, but then family was like, no, you have to go to another country, pursue your masters. Maybe it will benefit you. Who knows, things might change overnight. I was like, I had to force myself, okay, maybe this is the time. But luckily, before I came to UAE as a resident, I visited UAE on a visit visa.
Nice.
Which was for a period of 2 months. I tried my luck in finding a job, but though things didn't work out in my favor, but eventually I ended up discovering places in UAE, in the UAE. After which, almost after 3 or 4 months of gap, I applied for an admission, and luckily I got selected. Of course, I did work hard for it. And then that's where my journey began. And then almost 4 months since I completed my masters, and I'm glad for a fact that I am still in touch with you, meeting whenever possible, and taking guidance or seeking support from you. That's one thing. And about my professional experience, if I have to say, in the UAE, it's been almost 9 months since I've been working for a company which is into e-commerce, and I work for the last mile sector. So things have been great. I mean, people actually wonder that if we move across the country or go to a different place, things will change. And for a fact, they just feel that. I mean, the reason why I'm saying this is, even today I receive calls from home, and they ask as if, do you get these vegetables over there? I just tell them, I'm not in a different planet. I'm just far away from our home country. So that's about it, sir. And
and you're right. I think UAE for most of Indians is home away from home. So you get everything that you get in your home country.
True.
Except for a few seasonal fruits which are not available. But I think most of the things are available here. They have such a good supply chain system. They get fruit from everywhere around the world.
Exactly.
So, I don't think we miss our home. The food that we had, back in our home country. So, it's home away from home for all of us.
True. Yeah, the good thing about living in the UAE is that it's like almost from Hyderabad to Warangal by road.
Exactly.
You just have to take the flight, and by the time you open your eyes, you are there at the airport. So that's one less thing to worry about in terms of distance. And in everything, like, UAE has been incredible. It has treated me well. Like, I was asked by a friend of mine, how is Dubai and everything, of the city we are living in. But I just said, I have been treated well. That's all I had to say. I didn't want to prolong it, didn't want to cut it short.
True.
I said, it's been well.
True.
Not as if I want to keep on saying the same thing again and again, but for a fact, right?
Right. True.
But yes, sir. So the main reason why I've been wanting to, or the reason why we are here is, of course, you and I, or maybe the entire world knows as to what the ongoing situation is, how people have been reacting, what is being said, what is actually happening. So there are a lot more commas, semicolons, a lot many things to the story. But what exactly has been happening, and how you and I as residents are actually experiencing
the current geopolitical situation.
Because of the ongoing situation. So that's the main reason why I wanted to have this, for someone who has been for a prominent time in the country, and for someone who has been new and still a part of the ongoing situation. So
I think my 2 cents on this, this current geopolitical uncertainty issue, whatever we call it, was that I think people reacted very quickly. That's what I believe. Because we for expatriates who've been living here for quite some time, know about the leadership of this country, how responsible they are when it comes to life and safety of their citizens as well as residents. So I was certain that they will overcome this whatever uncertainties are happening, and they are quite resilient to these kind of situations. And time and again they've proven that they come back from these kind of situations very strong.
True.
So I had that feeling. I personally feel that the reaction to this issue was very quick. I think we can blame to some international media as well, which have blown this situation out of proportion. But look, when there's an issue happening in the current, anywhere in the world right now, everybody gets affected. It has a ripple effect. If you look at what has happened in Venezuela, for example, it reflects all around the world when it comes to the oil prices. And today's world is an example of a global village which is affected by each and every decisions that has been made anywhere around the world. So individuals' decisions, government decisions, all these decisions end up affecting each of our life. So UAE is not an exception as well. So if entire country, 200 odd countries are affected, UAE is one of the country. But what's beautiful about UAE is how they tackle these situations.
True. Very true.
So I think for people who have not spent time in this region, do not know what UAE has done in past. But I was very certain that they will overcome as early as possible, and get up to speed. Like what Muhammad Al-Abbar says. He said in US that other countries are busy in election, and Dubai is busy in construction. So they're back on their track. They're doing construction. So not just buildings, but also other industries, other domains. So they're back on track.
True. I couldn't agree more. I mean, my period here is 2% of for the time period you have lived in here. I cannot deny for whatever you have said. It's obvious for a fact that though there have been alarming situations or alarming concerns raised by people, for someone who has not even visited this place or not the audience of the ongoings, but still people have come up with so many concrete says that for someone who looks at it through their lens, they believe that this is the truth or this is happening for real. But for a fact, you and I very well know that that's not how the situation has been.
Absolutely.
I mean, as you rightly mentioned about UAE has had a constructive approach, and when you also made it clear that it's not about buildings. I mean, for a fact, I am amazed looking at the development or the comeback. Because things are uncertain. We cannot run away or just dodge from it. It is. We acknowledge that. But at the same time, people, especially all the, be it visitors, be it the residents, be it working professionals or any freelancers or whosoever it is. I mean, anytime when I just keep scrolling through social media or anywhere, it's being told that, okay, this is what has happened. But at the same time, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? So there are also people who are just saying, don't be worried. It's fine. You just have to calm down, and this is nothing. This is not new or this didn't just happen overnight. Of course, things have changed, decisions were made, lives are impacted. That cannot be denied as well.
Absolutely.
But still, we are here, happily, safe, secure. And for a fact, you and I know that if we happen to go somewhere solo, take a solo drive or just, go for an outing with our family, we just know that we are safe. That's how beautiful you has been throughout.
Absolutely. And I think both of us would agree on the fact that whatever has happened in last 40 days it has not affected our day-to-day life.
Exactly.
You're going to office, I'm coming to the office. I think if you look at our surroundings as well, our neighbors, friends, close, friends, etc., everybody is going to their offices.
True.
Work is, progressing, except for the first week. Rest, all of us have gone back to office and things have resumed as it was before. So I don't think there's much of a change in terms of groceries. If you find everything, I'm sure you are from the industry, so you understand the multinodal, supply chain system that they have. So everything is available. Obviously, there's been a slight price change here and there, which is okay. But nobody has faced any challenges whatsoever. So I think I would like to again reiterate that the way the leadership has handled the situation is amazing, and their whole focus of defense first, without retaliating, is something which would become a case study in the future. I completely agree with that, because they've not done what others have done. So they've protected their people, they've protected their assets, they have ensured that there's no disruption of work, there's no disruption of any kind of that would affect the economy or livelihood of people. So, and they've responded back strongly that they're not part of anything that is happening out here. So which is something very strong statement that has gone out.
True.
That
being said, I mean, of course there were times wherein with all the interceptions happening or when drones were being shot, I mean, we were informed. We were informed that we have to seek shelter.
True.
I mean, that too, it was like not as if we had to hear it from someone or we had to check with someone. Right at your phone, you were receiving a notification that okay, this is not the time for you to step out. Seek shelter. Ensure that you are safe. Check that your co-workers or your friends, family, whosoever it is, if they are anywhere around, keep them informed. I mean, that's one thing which I am fascinated about.
True.
And then also the other thing, as you mentioned about groceries and everything. Of course, we do get to know, being in the industry, we get to meet people who are part of the supply chain, who are in cargo shipping and everything. So there was a time wherein one of the locals from Karimnagar, I checked with him as to how the business is running. He was like, see, even for me, he said the same thing in a very reclusive tone. He was like, brother, I know I'm running in losses, but this is not going to last long.
True.
He just said that, and he mentioned about how the prices have boomed for the excise or the customs charges and everything. And he was like, one thing I can assure you is, irrespective of what the situation is, no resident or no individual living in this country is going to starve for the night.
True.
Be it daily essentials, vegetables, or anything, you have it. And it's actually great to be part of a country which has this sophisticated mechanism or a foundation wherein people actually question their doubt as to whatever they are thinking. Is it right, or am I thinking wrong? That's how UAE has created a name for itself, and I'm sure for a fact that whatever is ongoing is not going to last long.
Absolutely. And I think you've said it correctly that they have plan B, plan C always up their sleeves. So in terms of storage as well, I was speaking to somebody. He said that they have silos, temperature controlled silos, and obviously refrigeration and all that stuff, which can store food stuff of almost about 90 days. So if there's any issue, cut out from the from the other parts where we are shipping stuff, it can be stored, which means for 90 days we are assured of food and water. And same goes with their water desalination plant as well. So there were talks that the other countries would attack desalination plant, etc. But UAE is only country which has a reservoir of 90 days of water for the entire population. So if it's cut out and if they have to rebuild everything again, for 90 days people can survive.
That's great, sir. I mean, of course, who can even think of this in such a short span?
Exactly.
And
that's what is, that's something I would say that surprised a lot of big countries around the world. that UAE being such a small country, the way they've managed things is like is something that others envy about. Like they're like, how can they achieve in such a small span?
Yeah.
So whether it's their infrastructure, whether it's their 190 nationalities that they've hosted in the country, whether it's investment, currently fintech, AI related stuff, the Starlink project that has come in to UAE. So all of these, how can it be possible in a country which is not even 50 years old? So that is a point of envy for a lot of countries.
True.
And to some extent, the aggression that you've seen is somewhat related to that as well. That's what I believe.
Yeah, that's right, sir. But again, if you look at the developments since what has happened, since things went south, if you see, I mean, of course, you have been active in social media or had a tab on over the news and everything.
Right.
I just looked at a post where it says His Highness.
Yeah.
He was just casually on a visit at the Dubai Mall.
Right.
I just randomly interacted with the citizens and everything.
Right.
I mean, that gives a sense of, more than a sense of confidence and courage to just know that, okay, this is how we are protected.
Right.
And this also reminds me when the president of UAE, His Highness, mentioned that in the UAE, everyone is an Emirati.
Right.
I mean, that's beyond expectations. Like which country would, extend their identification for everybody who is living in the country itself, which is absolutely, like, I'm truly happy and thankful for that.
Right. And it's a right example of leading from the front.
True.
Giving that assurance that we are still normal. Our Air Force is taking care of the sky. On the land, you live the way you were living.
Everywhere, yeah.
So that's an assurance from the leadership right from the front, and they've been doing this, right starting from His Highness Zayed. From that time onwards, they used to, roam around in markets, meeting people, understanding the local issues. This is something embedded in the leadership system. So, which gives assurance to, even expatriates, not just locals, nationals over here, but expatriate as well. So they give equal importance to both the local community as well as the expatriate community. Right?
True.
So I think that was a very good thing that he's done.
Yeah.
And as you can see in that video, there were so many people in and around that mall itself. So I was also shocked when I visited, right in the midst of this issue which was happening. I was in a mall in Sharjah. I was shocked to see the amount of public available in that mall.
Exactly.
Like nobody was bothered about what was happening outside.
True.
They had that self-assurance on their face that UAE is taking care of the skies, so we don't need to worry anything which is happening on the ground.
True. I mean, this reminds me of one of the dialogues from Suits,
right,
where Harvey Specter says, "Life is like this, and I like this."
Right.
So maybe for everyone living in the UAE or for the leadership of UAE itself, they just clearly are projecting or portraying the fact that life is like this and we live like this.
Absolutely.
That's just beautiful, sir. But if I may ask, as you mentioned that you have been living here since almost 20 years.
Right.
So for a fact I know that this is nothing new to you.
Right.
It's like you just had a good night's sleep and then you wake up and go to work.
Yep.
Yeah, but for someone who has been for this long, or has been a part of this country for this long, I'm sure for a fact that there would have been a lot more situations beyond this which were uncontrollable, or maybe not as impactful as the ongoing, or maybe in a different context as well.
Yeah. I can clearly remember about 3 instances, including obviously the pandemic. So the first one, if I remember correctly, was in 2008 and 9. which was I think it was a global financial downturn where everybody were affected, especially the banks were affected, due to which all the industries that banks used to support. So at that point of time, real estate was booming, construction was booming. So construction was affected, due to which they had a lot of issues. The banks had issues, and due to which there was companies shutting down, there were job losses, etc. It was happening globally. So again, at that point also Dubai was projecting a diverse portfolio of investors from around the world. Okay. So it was not just Dubai's investors who were losing money, it was everybody around the world. So it was a global impact which affected Dubai as a UAE as a country. And but what stood out was how the central bank acted upon it. So starting from the packages that were announced to manage the financial situation, which was from the central bank, as well as the sovereign fund which Abu Dhabi has and Dubai has. So they injected money into the system and ensured that industries are stable. And then rest is history. When the construction industry boomed, and it attracted funds from all around the world. So that was the first instance. They reacted immediately. So it started in 2008 and 9, and by 10-11 everything was in place, including VAT. VAT was introduced
back then.
VAT was introduced I think in little later, but it was introduced to ensure that there are fundings available for the government which can be reinvested in the economy itself. Similarly, there was an issue 2014 I think, which was oil prices. 2014 to 15 or 16, there were some issues with the oil prices because UAE was relying predominantly on oil-based income. So that's the time what they did was they started diversifying their industries. So that's when tourism came into play. That's where they started banking more on airlines, tourism. These are the areas that they started projecting themselves as the market leader. And it changed the entire how would I say, the revenue model of UAE. So right now, if you see 75% of the income that is generated for the country is from non-oil industries.
That's amazing.
So they immediately, and again, even in that time, Abu Dhabi stepped in, obviously being the capital. They stepped in, they injected money into banks, into financial institutions to stabilize things.
Okay.
So the way they reacted to these kind of situation was quick, compared to other countries around the world who collapsed completely because there was no support from the government, no support from investors, and they shut their shop completely. So same case during the COVID as well. UAE was the first country to complete the vaccine drive. Obviously, it's a small country, but the way they managed things was simply amazing. How they were digitally tracking the status of the affected people or general citizens and residents, and then beyond that, they supported other countries as well. So they come up with ideas and innovations that would help them get out of these situations as early as possible. So it talks about resilience, right? They don't give up.
True.
And this has been the case with them right from the time when they even discovered oil in this country, when they were pearl divers. They're known for being very resilient. They're known for being very business friendly. So this is embedded in their system. This is embedded in their leadership. That taking things as a leader, taking it from the front, being the first to admit that there's a problem, and this is what we are doing to curb that problem. So these are some of the things that ensures me that any problem that happens over here would be taken care by their able leadership.
That's actually it's visible, sir. Right. Since I am living here, I can clearly see that. Right. But I just feel that if how a leader should be,
Right.
maybe then we can just point at UAE and say that this is how a country
Right.
is, and this is how it is led by its leaders.
Leaders.
And that would be a beautiful case study as well.
True. I agree.
Because back while I was doing my masters
Right.
in 2008 and all, not that much of an exposure. But yeah, except for the fact that parents keep talking about, okay, this is the price of dal or pulses have increased.
Right.
This is what we knew back then.
Right.
But then after joining in to do the course and all, that's when I got to know that how impactful the situation has been. And for a country as such, right? I mean, it's like the way UAE tackles with situation, irrespective of it being new or if it has a pattern or anything as such, they just make it feel, or their approach is in a way as in this is like this happened last night,
Right.
so there's nothing to worry about.
Absolutely.
And of course there is time which is considered, which is taken in order to plan, but end of the day the result is to the point.
Right.
And the beautiful thing about UAE is, irrespective of when the drones were actually in the sky while they were being intercepted,
Yep.
irrespective of which part of it we are in the UAE, we are informed about it. That's one of the bestest things that I have ever come across.
Yeah.
Like, be it their technology or be it their the defense, as you rightly mentioned. Like this it's spellbound, sir.
Agree. And I think the numbers speaks for itself. I think people, let's say, for example, I'm more concerned about our people back in India who are concerned about sending the kids to this part of the world.
True.
I think the numbers are a clear reflection of how they've taken care of this situation.
Yeah.
I think I was reading the numbers, 2,250 plus drones which were intercepted. I think 300 odd ballistic missiles and some I think cruise missiles, around 25 plus cruise missiles which were destroyed by their the THAAD system or the Patriot system that they have. And alongside that, obviously Rafale jet plane monitoring through which they were even intercepting these drones, etc. So that talks about security is prominence. It's prominent for this country, and they want to have a country which is safe from all these issues, regional issues, etc. And their stance clearly says that they would want to refrain from all these things that are happening in the region completely. So I think it's an assurance for people who are looking at Dubai as a destination for higher education. It's as safe as your hometown. I would say.
True.
And I'm sure, I think you would vouch for it because you've spent 2 years over here. So how's been your experience? Studying here. Obviously, you're working right now. So how's been your journey so far?
It's been commendable.
Right.
Long story short, it's been great.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned initially that I never thought I would do my masters or just move out of the country. But here, it's an experience that one should actually have, and that too in the UAE. I mean, of course, every country has got its own essence.
Right.
But in the UAE, it's different. I mean, yeah, that reminds me of, irrespective of which place we go,
right,
we encounter or we get to see people from different nationalities. And when we speak to them, it's like you're living abroad. Of course, this is international too.
Right.
But end of the day, there's always this homesickness kind of a feeling, or you just think that, okay, I don't see any people or I don't know any people. But if I'm not wrong, almost 4 million is the population of Indians living in the UAE.
Yeah, that's right.
That's one thing. And that's one of the main reasons why it just doesn't feel weird or out of the blue, as if you have left your country, living somewhere else, like with no people around. That's one thing. And about other nationalities, all of the people have been kind, supportive. Like for the company which I work for,
Right.
they're a different nationality. I'm sure you have come across a lot many people as well.
Yeah.
And irrespective of whatsoever the situation has been, especially during these critical times, I just have been told, of course, they have been living here for a longer period than me.
Right.
And they just told one simple thing. Bus, nothing to worry about. Everything's being taken care of.
Right.
I mean, for something which is not even visible to the eye, for something which is not even being told to you, you don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely.
Unless and until it's officially told or mentioned by the government that this is how the situation is.
Yep.
Khalli walli.
Yeah.
Don't worry about anything.
I agree.
That's about it. And back to my experience, my schedule was more of a hybrid thing. Like I was able to manage work and at the same time attend classes as well. So it's been a cakewalk for me.
Right.
But yeah, maybe that's how I should portray it. But yeah, work and also work as well. I mean, since the time there have been reminders or cautionary statements being released by the government, even companies, not my company only, the company I'm working for, many of the companies, I'm sure you would agree as well, they have been responsive and supportive enough to encourage and prioritize the safety of their employees.
Right.
Which has been a great thing, and all thanks to the government of the UAE. Because unless and until the foundation is strong,
Right.
irrespective of how tall or how long the building is,
Yeah.
it will sustain only if the foundation is strong.
I agree.
So that's one thing which I truly have been going crazy about.
I think one very valid point that you've mentioned is you were able to manage your education simultaneously with work.
Yeah.
That is again a very unique USP about Dubai, which people overlook. Because, so for example, if you look at other destination for higher education, whether it's US, UK, France, or any other European country, the limit of a student to work outside, after college hours is, I think, 25 to 30 hours.
The maximum is 40 hours a week.
40 per week. But I think UAE does not have that challenge. So did that help you?
It certainly did, because one thing for sure is you either are working or you either are studying.
Right.
But of course, there's a neutrality in between, wherein if you want to work, you need to have certain. And again, that brings back to the system laid down by the government.
Yeah, true.
It says you need to have certain documents for you to go ahead.
Absolutely.
And here, the point which can be added is, as much as for someone who wants to be flexible in the kind of task or work they want to do, you also are being allowed to focus on where your interest lies.
Right.
Like for someone who wants to study, they can entirely focus on studying. For someone who wants to be flexible, they can stand in between both of them and play the tug of war.
Yeah.
And for someone who wants to work and still pursue studying, welcome to the UAE.
Absolutely. That brings me to another very interesting point. What I've noticed, at least in your juniors who are doing their MBA programs out here, there are a lot of students who are now moving towards the entrepreneurial journey rather than jobs, because so what they've noticed, I guess, is the kind of infrastructure which is available for startups in terms of funding as well. So I was meeting somebody, I think this was, if I'm not wrong, about 6 months back. There was a gentleman from US who came in here talking about startups to students, and he was mentioning that for each startup, for 1,000 startups, there are, I think around, if I'm not wrong, about 10 to 12 venture capitalists or investment companies available in US.
Is it?
Whereas if you compare it in Dubai, for about 100 odd startups, there are more than 50 investment companies who are available. So I'm talking about the ratio of startups to the venture capitalist firms the ratio is very high, which means ease of getting funds, ease of finding an investor for your startup. So there are a lot of students who have, indulged into the entrepreneurial journey rather than, choosing to get into jobs. So there are options available as well for students. It's not just job and internship. You can go beyond. Start your own firm within a matter of, again, starting a company over here is as quick as 48 hours. You get your license in 48 hours and you are a business owner right away.
Yeah, that's actually splendid. I mean, from what you have said, the number speaks for itself. But while we have spoken about things here and there as to how things have been impacted and everything, for someone who has been into recruitment or who heads the division of placements and everything, what's your say or speak on how things are gonna be, or how things are?
Right.
How is it gonna be?
Yeah.
And what's your opinion on or for parents and students who are actually considering the UAE as an option?
Absolutely. So in terms of my suggestion to people who are looking out for careers over here, I think UAE would be a job market that will adapt to technology very quickly.
Right.
So I personally feel, I'm sure you must have heard about the story of Oracle, recent story.
Yeah.
So, all that attrition, all that, job firing was caused because of their adaptation to the AI technologies. Right. So I see that impact coming to Dubai as well. So that is one skill that I highly recommend. So again, there's it's overused term, artificial intelligence, but it has impact on each one of our life. It's not just technically sound people who will be affected. It will be you and me who will be affected as well, because there's so much of, if you've heard about agentic AI, that can affect our life. So anything mundane that we do can be automated by agentic AI, which does stuff on its own.
Yeah.
So which means our work becomes more effective because we don't waste our time on mundane regular tasks that we do, which can be done by even a chatbot. Yeah. So I think learning those skills is going to be the game changer for us. If you want to sustain in the market, you have to adapt, and the first adaptation is AI. So right starting, I would say for a business student from business background, they should start with specializing in generative AI first.
Okay.
Because there are programs and courses available on generative AI where you can use generative AI to maximum, right? It's not just about writing emails, but it's more to it, like creating analysis. You can use the generative AI on the Excel side as well. So becoming a generalist on generative AI is a must-have skill. Like how in my days when I graduated from college, MS Office was a big thing. You have to know Excel in order to get into a good company, good organizations in India. So similarly, generative AI, a generalist of generative AI would be the key skill right now, followed by the next step, which would be agentic. And if you get into core AI as well, which is a little bit technical in nature, that would be a game changer. So these are some of the things which are very important. So keeping abreast with technology would be the key. So people who survive, who go through that rigor and learn those skills will survive in the market.
Fair. But do you mean to say for someone who wants to get into AI,
right,
they can choose UAE as an option, or is it in the context of all the people?
Right.
I mean, of course, end of the day, the choice would differ.
Right.
Be irrespective of the place, or depends on who you meet.
Right.
So, which makes me ask you as to what do you think of the ongoing situation with how has the educational sector, since you are from the educational industry and the recruitment as well, have these sectors turned upside down, or is there going to be? Will this continue, or how is it going to be?
Well, I think one point I forgot to mention while I was discussing about COVID was, UAE's effort in making the entire education digital during the times of COVID. Okay. So they've created that infrastructure. They've made it a mandate for all education institutions to have online education, online systems available to evaluate and conduct classes online.
Yeah.
And also, obviously conduct examinations, etc. online. So that system is up and running with all the organized institutions right now.
Okay.
So it was easy even in these times for all these education institutions to come back online and deliver the lectures. So as we are speaking, there are a lot of universities who are organizing their online classes, webinars, seminars, etc. So that adaptability was very quick, because we've experienced that during the time of COVID.
Yeah.
And I think most of the universities out here have invested a lot in tools and technologies which can help them to have seamless online education. And to answer your first question about the changes, the skills required, I think UAE is like a reflection of a global job market. So whatever is out there in US or the developed countries will generally come in UAE very quickly, adapted very quickly as well. So whether you're talking about sustainability, whether you're talking about ESG, whether you're talking about robotics or aerospace technology, UAE, the moment there's a technology, UAE is amongst the first country to adapt this. So there's always a requirement for people in those technologies, specialists in those technologies. So considering how companies are adapting to AI, I foresee a lot of opportunities coming up in all domains. I'm not just limiting it to technology. You'll find blockchain, AI specialists in your industry as well, which is actually managed right now. So they have I think the supply chain system of UAE is managed by a blockchain technology through which they can track where is the shipment.
Yeah.
So it has already been happening. So I think if those skill sets are there in your profile, you would obviously you would stand out from the crowd, and you'll have more opportunities to get into right roles and right organizations. So technology would be the game changer for people who are doing computer science related programs or non-computer science related programs as well. I'm even insisting insisting, people who are in core engineering to look at AI and ML as one area of expertise or a skill that they can have alongside what they've studied.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a different story. We decide to do something, we end up doing something else.
Right.
So based on what you have said, can I or may I say that it lays the foundation of hope for people who are planning to move to the UAE to pursue their further education or look for a job opportunity?
Absolutely. So I think in India, I see that there are a lot of institutions which are providing programs in AI, generative AI, generalist AI related roles. So I think people can opt for those programs, add in that skill set in their portfolio, and come in over here when looking out for opportunities. It would definitely add a lot of value. I know about 5 to 6 companies who are based out of UAE, which we are in touch with. They're starting their own AI labs over here. So they want to develop their products or basically enhance their product with these technologies. So they're investing heavily in R&D of these products. So which is something very new, because all this while UAE was a market where finished product used to come and then it used to be sold. But now companies are actually invested in this country, and they want to actually be part of that revolution which has started, AI related revolution. So you might have heard that there's a college which is only running AI program in Abu Dhabi, which is started by the government. And then there are departments within the government which are AI specific departments. So they're laying a lot of importance to this technology, and I think a lot of industries also second their opinion, because they think that this would be the game changer for them in order to be more efficient as an organization and more profitable.
That actually gives me much of confidence and hope for the future future incomings
Right.
as individual in terms of individuals. Uh, but yeah, most of the people can relate to this.
Right.
One major backlash that I had to experience was the request to come back from the country. Every day when things were going, I mean, for a fact, people who are far away from here, especially our family or
Right.
close or loved ones, they have been worried with our living in this country as to, I mean, if things are not fine,
Right.
please come back. I don't know how things are. My family itself,
Right.
as a better example, I have been acknowledging and assuring them that there's nothing to worry about.
Right.
If there's anything,
Right.
consider me as a reliable source
Right.
because I am living here.
Right.
But they are like, no, the news channels over here are showing something else. I see buildings being bombarded and all of that. So, at that point of time, of course, there comes a point in life wherein we just feel that nothing is more important.
Then.
That was one situation where I was questioning myself. Do I should I listen to them or should I just trust my instinct and
Right.
trust the government's say?
Right.
So how I'm sure you're living with your family
Yeah.
here, right?
Yeah.
So how has this situation treated you, or how did you deal with it?
Well, I think with my kids and even my wife, they are more confident in the government than me, whereas I've spent more time here. They're more confident in the government. They say that they'll take care. So that
Yeah.
assurance is there. I think that is because what I've noticed within my family is I'm sure a lot of people who've stayed back in Dubai have done the same thing. They've followed the right kind of sources to get information.
Yeah.
That was the major problem. I think that's the problem our families are in India are facing right now. They're not getting the right source of information from the news channels or the news outlets that we have out there.
Yeah.
So it's more of sensationalism which is happening, due to which people are panicking.
Yeah.
But if you follow the sources, government related sources, mostly MOI approved sources, they're giving exact and accurate information.
Correct.
And they've laid down the foundation in such a way that if we follow those steps, nothing is
There's
going to
nothing
harm
to
us.
worry about. Yeah.
And that's what has happened. The foundation, I would say that the decree that they've passed for universities and schools of not doing classes from their premises has helped, because
True.
there's been no casualties in schools, colleges
Yeah.
and education institutions. Secondly, where there were critical places where they thought that there would be attacks, those places, let's say for example in a few companies in Jebel Ali, and those companies were working from home and there were no casualties in those companies as well. So they have tried to minimize as much as possible damage to people, provided people follow the right guidelines, news. So I think we've been lucky that we've been instructed by the government that these are the sources that you need to follow. Avoid looking at information on social media, because with AI, it's like right now the situation with AI when it comes to creating videos is like a monkey with a gun. It can fire anywhere. So there've been so many instances where our parents back in India might have looked at a video of XYZ building collapsing or something happening which is not a fact. So I think we've been lucky that the source of information that we were getting was accurate, and hence there was no issue. And hence I would request, even for future, we should recommend our people back in India that they should look at the key sources. So
True.
there are some news channels, Dubai-based news channel, Abu Dhabi-based news channels, which provide accurate information about the country.
Yeah, agreed, or maybe aligned on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, back when I kept receiving calls and everything, I just told them there's nothing to worry about. I'm
Right,
fine.
right.
If there comes an extent wherein I have to return back, I surely will.
Yeah.
But except for that, nothing else is gonna happen.
Absolutely.
Because when the founders or when family belonging to the founders
Right.
itself are confident which is as concrete as, an unbreakable stone
True.
or a metal. There's no scope for doubt or random thoughts. You just cannot let in influence you or maybe consume you.
Right.
Because of course, when there's family, when there's people whom we love or someone who's close to us, there's always a scope for doubt or a platform which makes them more emotional than thinking of it in a very practical manner. I was considering that too.
Right.
But at the end of the day, see, this is like all factors have been should be taken into consideration. You just cannot randomly decide that, okay, I saw something over media or something which is being broadcasted by a channel, and then I decide that I pack my bags,
Right.
and then I go back home and I'm fine, because I might leave then,
Right.
but after that, the consequences follow thereafter.
True.
Like, why did I
Exactly.
not trust?
Exactly.
But for me as an individual, from what I've believed in, there never has been a time wherein I didn't even have a thought that, okay, maybe this is the time I have to go back. And since the beginning of the conversation, as we have been mentioning about it here and there, all thanks to the government and all thanks to the foundation laid by the government.
Right.
Had it not been for that, maybe even you and I would have been skeptical while
Shooting this video.
having a conversation
Right.
about this.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I completely understand, the challenges that you as a student who's staying away from family must be facing over here. So I always wanted to know, how did you tackle those first few weeks? I know the first week was a little overwhelming for a lot of people because this place being one of the most safest place in the world. Unfortunately, due to what has happened in the region, they had that, I would say, a bit of unrest because of that over here as well. But what was going in your mind when in the first week? I'm sure you should have got a lot of pressure from your family during the first week itself.
Yeah. I would like to start off by saying uncertainty prevails.
Right.
But certainty comes full circle.
Absolutely, I agree.
So when, of course, it was new to me, except for playing video games, just shooting at someone.
Right.
But it happening in real life, of course, there was I had a state of mind which was alarming.
Right.
But at the same time, it was something which was controlled. That's one thing. The main thing where I became doubtful about it was the calls from home.
Right.
Hello. Is everything safe? Are you safe? I don't trust you. I want you to come back home. And the first thing is, of course, we have people who are elderly aged.
Right.
So they are like, I don't care what you're doing in life. I want you to be right in front of me right now. How is that even possible?
Right.
So it did take a lot much of time, but as you rightly mentioned, that we had official sources confirming that this is how the situation is being tackled.
Right.
So that was a source of evidence for me to show it to them, which made them trust in my words and say that, okay, fine.
Right.
This has come from official sources, so maybe we can just calm down. And then the immediate question was, so why is it being hyped this much over the local news channels?
Right.
I just said, of course, sarcastically.
Right.
I was like, am I the owner of it?
Right.
Am I the one recording it? Or do I have my own sources with whom I have shared it? No, right?
Right.
So you just have to understand. There were times wherein I did lose my calm too. Because why worry?
Yeah.
Because there comes a point wherein we are concerned about their health as well.
Right.
Their mental being mainly.
Yeah.
For someone who just says that I trust in you, but end of the day ends up going to bed overthinking,
Right.
there's no point.
Right.
I did take my time. For me, being here, it didn't take much time. It didn't take much time for me. I was like casually, I had my friends.
Right.
We were like randomly going to groceries, go visiting places, or maybe just go for a movie.
Right.
Or just take a drive maybe.
Yeah.
For some, you should know better than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been like smooth.
Excellent. And I think the best part, as you mentioned correctly, is things were normal on the ground.
Yeah.
And it became normal very quickly. That's why we didn't feel the brunt of it, right? Again, kudos to them that they've managed to bring everything to normalcy as early as possible. That's why there's almost about 60-70% of the population, expat population, was still in the country.
Yeah.
Still in the country. There were few, I would say not newbies, people who've relied on irrelevant sources. They've packed the bag and left the country. But, people who knew that, nothing is going to happen, they had faith in the government, the system. They've stuck around.
For a fact, you and I know that the ones, of course, a minimal count who have left already,
right,
are actually, dying to come back.
Yeah, I know.
Because that's very usual.
Yeah.
And it's easily predictable.
Yeah. And actually, if I remember correctly, I think starting from Thursday this week, I saw a lot of traffic while going towards Sharjah from Dubai. Which reminds me that there are a lot of people who've come back. So I think the honeymoon period of working from home is over.
Yeah, it is.
They have to report back to the offices.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? Even if you're stuck in traffic, you don't feel like you are in traffic.
Right.
It's like there's this ongoing flow.
Right.
The water which doesn't choose to remain stagnant.
True.
That's how it is.
True. And during those initial weeks, how did you keep yourself sane? What have you done? I think initially first week you were working from home.
Yeah.
So what were your activities? How did you? I know there are a lot of people, including me. Doom scrolling was something that I was doing just to get information, but that was not the right approach.
Yeah.
But how did you manage your first week? What were you doing? What were your activities? How did you keep yourself sane during those times?
Right. So when things started over, right, or when things started to happen,
right,
like I said, it was out of the blue. I had to figure out, is this something because it was new, right?
Yeah.
It's not as if, okay, there's something flying above you and you have to react again towards it. I had to question. I did take my time. Okay, what's happening and everything. But the main thing over the entire or throughout this period is one special mention or thanks that I would like to say is for the people who I know here and my friends with whom I live.
Right.
Had it been a situation wherein I was living alone,
right,
it would have turned me insane. And maybe I would have been one amongst the first in the line,
right,
to pack my bags.
Right.
Especially during these times, right? When we look at movies where they portray or make it essential that this is the moral of the story, or every book ends with an climax or anything as such. The thing is, moral support is essential.
True.
And when you have that coming from people around you who are close to you, right, it changes the entire perspective.
Absolutely.
I mean, for someone who just feels as if it's time to give up,
right,
and then you just have a hand on your shoulder saying that, dude, there's nothing to worry about. Things are fine.
Right.
We are together.
Right.
We will just fight through this or overcome this. That's one thing. And what I've been doing since this time is I've been working on something.
Great.
which has been good. I mean, it made me feel good. And then thanks to my organization that they have been supportive enough
right,
to encourage a hybrid mode of work. And that's about it. But that's my story. But what's yours?
I think for me, my strength was family, because again, same. If my family would have not been around me, I would have been the first person to leave the country and go.
Right.
With what kind of news was floating around on social media. So I think family support. I think to some extent organization as well.
Yeah.
Because we've got that assurance from the organization that this is temporary, things will go back to normal as soon as possible. And for me, the experience that I had in similar kind of situation, not similar kind of situation, but situations which were a little alarming, like the financial downturn and the COVID, etc. How the government and how the authorities over here manage those situations. I had that faith that things would be fine.
Yeah.
I spent most of my time, obviously, more on the how would I say, exploring myself. Where do I lack? Self introspection is what I got time this time around. So I was looking at what are those things that I can improve as a father, as a husband, as a human being. So those are the things that I thought about during this first week. Obviously a bit of time. Prayers was something that was quite regular for us.
Yeah.
We were praying for the UAE, for the communities, for the people around here, safety of the people, and as a matter of fact, in most of the prayer, whether it's mandir, masjids, or gurudwara, there were special prayers which were happening for the security of the country. So that was something that was very calming for all of us. And a little bit of work during this time. That's how I spent the first. But I was dying to come back to the office. So only the first week was the week where I worked from home. It was not that great, because for me, working for last 20 years in an office, working at home is very uncomfortable. For me, the toughest time was the COVID time. 3-4 months sitting at home and working was horrible. So we came back to the office. I think the entire department where I work for, we were in office. We were working from office. So I don't think it took us time to get accustomed to office life again.
It's like the line chart or the progress of how the share is performing in the stock market.
Right.
It's like you have highs and lows.
Absolutely.
But irrespective, you just know that you're not going either to meet the toppest point or the lowest point.
True.
You will be there. You will sustain. And you will just make your way through it.
Absolutely.
That's how things have been.
Yeah.
Well, what else do you have on your minds here? Like, what do you think as part of initiatives, if you have to mention about, what do you think are the key initiatives taken up by the government since the beginning of this uncertainty?
Right. I think UAE has always been known for ease of doing business. So I think the first thing that they did was, with most of the private organization, relaxation on excise duties. So that is something that has been implemented, especially for the private organizations. I think they've done a couple of other things as well that that is somewhat related to your industry as well.
One of the things that I'm well aware of is providing a business fund, which is around 1 billion, which is like huge. So this gives actually good hope for all of the investors or for companies who actually establish their business or maybe run their business in the country. That's the other thing. And maybe you could fill in more. Yeah,
I think one of the most interesting ones, especially for families, was places like Dubai Aquarium. There are a lot of other places, the Miracle Garden, etc., where they give free entry to all citizens and residents over here. That was a good thing because during these times, if you see, whenever there are like financial downturns or issues, first thing that families do is start saving money. So that was a good relief for a lot of us. Having free access to all these facilities was good. Good family time for majority of the people who are staying here with family.
I mean, adding on to that, of course, there was no sign of concern or worriedness when people. In fact, there were videos being uploaded mentioning that there's a line of people waiting for access. And also the other thing, I mean, now that situation has compressed a bit. One of the major initiatives that I have seen is the entire country has joined in together, and it's being showcased as hashtag Together We Stand with UAE. And not only that, I mean, for every last mile company which is operating in the country, I see all of their bikes or the fleet they have a flag attached,
Right.
showing the support for the country,
Yeah.
which is actually a good thing. It actually boosts the confidence.
Absolutely.
It encourages the morale. And so where do we get to see these things?
Absolutely.
And that too overnight. Things change overnight.
Absolutely.
I personally feel that these have been the major comebacks from the country
Right.
as one.
Right.
Kudos to the citizens as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they have been responsive enough,
Yeah.
rather than just neglecting, being in their own cocoon,
Right.
thinking that okay, this is not something we have to be worried about.
Right.
But the entire nation, like in social media, in news, everywhere, it's
Yeah.
just being said that okay, we are with UAE, we stand with UAE.
Right.
That's really amazing.
Absolutely. And I think that brings us to that another point of social media influencers.
Yeah.
So I've seen, I think all, I would say 100% of social media influencers here have created stories, supporting the country. Whereas if you look at, the UAE's contemporaries or, other countries, you'll see a mixed response from social media or content
Right.
creators. Whereas here, everybody looked like as if everybody is in line.
Yeah.
And, BBC also ran a news saying that, UAE government is giving instruction to social media influencer, which is not true.
Yeah.
That was straight away coming from heart, for people who've spent money, who've, started their careers here. So there were so many Indian influencers who've settled down here,
True.
came from India, settled down here, have been working as social media influencers for last 10-15 years. Their stories were right out from the heart.
Yeah.
That they've seen UAE strive in these kind of situations and coming back much more stronger, and they were giving assurance to people that nothing is going to happen. I'm right now in front of Burj Khalifa and the building is standing as tall as it used to be. So there's no problem at all. So I think that also, I think I was listening to one documentary, audio documentary recently about organizations that have succeeded in last 20-30 years. They've been successful because they've started their own communities.
Yeah.
Whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn or, for that matter, if you talk about Google, etc. I see that same thing happening in UAE as well. They've created a community of people who are not their own nationals, but they have that trust as if they're the nationals of the country. So that is something which is, worth noticing, worth mentioning. And that is only possible because of, the equal treatment that has been given to everyone.
Right.
And the classic example is the recent issues that has happened, how they have prevented from calamities to happen out here, like whatever those strikes were, whether it was towards any communities or towards the key assets of Dubai, they've blocked everything. So
Right.
it talks about their the amount of importance they have, not only for the citizens but also for expatriates.
Correct.
And that's how that likelihood comes from all the expatriates as well. So it's the same passion that that they share for the country, just like any of the nationals out here.
Right, I totally agree. But this reminds me of a point when the situation started to arise.
Right.
So I have a friend, a colleague to be precise. So he proactively reached out to me asking, are you fine? If there's anything which you need or if there's any support needed from my end, just let me know.
Yeah.
That moment I just felt home.
Right.
That this is home.
True.
This is home to UAE is home for many of us.
True.
And that's just absolutely, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I'm sure for a fact that we have spoken about many things about the UAE and mainly acknowledge the situation wherein we aren't setting an intention,
Right.
but rather than getting straight to the facts, mentioning that we are here not to alarm or create any sense of panic,
Right.
rather acknowledge and say the truth
Right.
as to how things were,
Right.
how things are, and how you and I foresee it to be.
Absolutely.
And this, I believe that we also would be backed up in the coming future of the
Right.
days,
Right.
that there would be sources which proves us right. But apart from that, one last question I have for
Right.
you, which is, I do remember that I asked you if moving to the UAE would be an option, but I would like to rephrase it by asking,
Right.
in the coming days, for anyone meet, irrespective of their intention as to why they want to move.
Right.
Would it be would it be a better choice
Sure.
for anyone who's planning to visit or move to the UAE, be it for job, educational, or business purposes?
Right. Absolutely. So I think to answer your question, I'll give you a personal example. I remember when I moved to UAE in 2006, there was a very close family member who used to be in Muscat, Salalah. Sorry, Muscat, which is part of
Oman.
So he told me that, why did you choose UAE?
Okay.
It's booming right now because 2006-7 was the boom of the construction started here.
Yeah.
I think they laid the foundation of Burj Khalifa. So the construction was happening, and they were, around it, the business bay that we see right now, all those things were being constructed. So a lot of people who lived in UAE, especially from my family, they said that, UAE is a bubble, it's going to burst, and, you should make a move from that country as early as possible, because you've got to go to those countries whose fundamentals are, at the right place.
Yeah.
Right, from the banking to the financial sectors, X, Y, Z, and they're diversified. Classic example is US. They're like, you should look at countries like those, US, Canada. These were the options given to me. Mm-hmm. I did not take his advice. When I spent some time over here, I kind of realized that there's a lot of potential for this country to grow. And with the right kind of leadership and, their future perspective about the country, how they want to take it from X to X1, was very clear and very vocal, and it was available in public for everyone to see.
Right.
Whether it's their Expo 2020 vision or, right now 2031 vision or 2030 vision, it's very clear, laid out. So I saw a lot of potential. I thought, this is the kind of place which can grow, and it grew. And, the gentleman who said that, why are you looking at UAE is currently now settled down in UAE itself. He bought his own property and he's living in UAE itself.
Yeah, okay.
So this was this is what Dubai is all about, I would say. You like it or you don't like it, but this is the place to be, right? So there are a lot of opportunities available, irrespective. Even though people say that there are so many Indians out here, but there are still opportunities for Indian. The university at which I'm working, I'm helping, Indian students get opportunities in organizations, and organizations are open to hire students if the right talent is available.
Right.
So what Dubai offers, I would say, at least within the Middle Eastern region, or to some extent, I would also say some Western countries, the opportunities are way better than even the Western countries.
Right.
Classic example is Canada, for example. A lot of people have moved from here to Canada, but they're not able to find the equivalent jobs which they were doing out here, and they have to, basically adjust themselves in something which they were not interested in doing.
Yeah.
So settle down to something which was less paying and not relevant to their industry as well. So considering that, I feel that in UAE, if you spend initially a couple of years, there are a lot of opportunities available. The moment you have the local UAE experience, you will start seeing that the offers would increase.
Right.
The pay will also increase, for that matter.
True.
I think UAE is also adapting to technology quickly. So I think upskilling is something that I would highly recommend. So anybody who's thinking of coming to UAE, upskill on the latest technology. Like I've mentioned, AI ML is the key over here.
Right.
Give it for another 4 or 5 years, everything would be AI and ML related out here in the market. So there are a lot of domains where people can choose. It's not just AI for tech students, or people from technology industry. It's even for people who are from non-technical industry, like both of us.
Correct.
So even for us, it's very important right now to upskill ourselves. I think property, needless to mention, you get, almost 20-30% return on your investment over here.
That too in a short span of time.
That too in a short span. So, and rents are better than even in US. So if you invest in a property and you're looking at rents, it's good options for you to make enough money, and a great place for you to live with your family. You must have seen so many politicians, sports stars, or movie stars who are moving out here. They're working in India but staying with the family over here because of the quality of life, education,
Right.
international exposure. There's so many actors who've found home in UAE.
Yeah.
And they've settled down and backing up the country like any one of us.
Right.
So I see, if I look at a paradigm of, not just jobs, but apart from that investment, real estate hub, at a later stage, even, entrepreneurial hub, this place offers a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, it has.
Everything. And even for higher education, if, people don't want to go far away from India, this is the place to be. With international exposure, close to your home, hardly 2 to 2.5 hours away from your hometowns. So, I think it will continue to dominate irrespective of whatever situation is there. These are all temporary situations. But I think UAE will emerge out to become much more stronger, better, and would lead from front.
True.
Yeah. So that's my opinion about this country.
Even I believe in the same, and I'm sure for a fact that there would come a time wherein people would actually not even think that there was a situation as such.
Yeah, true.
They would rather question themselves as to why am I having this thought,
Exactly.
than just tell themselves that okay, there was a situation as such.
True.
Because UAE is everywhere and UAE will always be.
Absolutely.
That's what I feel and I believe in. Well, sir, my heart feels heavy to conclude this conversation because you and I know for a fact that every beginning has to end.
Absolutely.
And this conversation eventually should as well.
Right.
But honestly, my takeaways from this conversation are more than what I can actually lift.
Right.
Because from the beginning to the end of the conversation, I feel that even I've been living here since 20 years from what you have said.
Right.
And it makes me feel immensely happy and grateful that I have had this opportunity to share or speak about the ongoings, share your experiences, and eventually learn from it as well.
Right.
But I hope it was the same with you as well.
Absolutely. No, I think you should do these kind of talks more frequent. You're good at it.
Appreciate it,
I think
sir.
you
Thank
should
you.
continue doing this. And I think this is a very good way of learning from others, learning from your
True.
experiences. There's so many things that I have learned from your conversation as well, how you've handled the situation, especially the first week of this issue that we had over here.
Yeah.
And as a student, what were your perspective about UAE as a country? So these are very important data points that I think people needs to hear out, especially
Correct.
people who are looking at UAE as an option for higher education,
Right.
as an option for investing, as an option for looking out for careers. So these kind of testimonials are very important. So I think it was a very fruitful conversation.
Right,
I
sir.
enjoyed it, and really look forward for your other videos as well.
Sure, sir. But honestly, sir, this has been more of a... It's beyond thank you, sir, if I could say.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate your time and, guidance throughout the entire process.
Right.
And I hope that this will also clear the fog which
Right.
people have been carrying over the past few weeks or months.
Yep.
But that being said, what's your last say on how UAE is going to be or
Right.
how UAE is?
I think the conclusion that we are having to this conversation is, I would say it's amazing because, I myself spending 20 years can call myself a veteran over here in this country. You have been in this country for last 2 years.
Yeah.
So, through this video, we've given the perspective of, somebody who spent time and somebody who's been new to
Correct.
new to this country. And I think we agree on most of the points that we've shared.
Yeah, and I guess, I'm sorry, but, two different perspectives,
Exactly.
but huge time gap.
Right.
But again, either of us believe in one simple thing,
Absolutely.
that UAE is the safest place to live
Absolutely.
and believe in as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think UAE will continue to, succeed the way it has been in last 20 years
Yeah.
or beyond. I think their visions, they have a visionary leadership. They have the right resources, human capital,
Yes.
which is more important, diverse human capital, and whatever they aim at, they achieve. So, that resilience is something which is second to none. And I believe that resilience will take them, far ahead.
True.
And I believe UAE will sustain, UAE will grow, UAE will, further develop.
Sure. I'm confident about the fact that there will come a time Of course, it is right now, but there will also be a time wherein the world will learn from the UAE.
Absolutely. I agree.
Well, cool, sir. I seriously appreciate everything that you have said, everything that I've learned. Like I mentioned, takeaways. But that being said, before I call it off for the conversation, I have one last request for you. Hope you don't mind on that.
I won't. Please go
I
ahead.
would, I request you to fill in for me,
Sure.
which is irrespective of the challenges, the UAE
Continues to be the most safest and the most emerging country in the Middle East.
I totally agree, sir.
And that being said,
Mm-hmm.
together we stand with
UAE.
UAE.